everyone. Sorry for the interruption. I ended up having to re-password in pretty much all of our Wi-Fi devices because in the previous stream I have flashed the config file where the password for the Wi-Fi that was set there since I moved from Dublin was, and since, well, it's not just OPSEC and paranoia, it's also that level of password will be enough to make things annoying and complicated if anybody wanted to bother us. So instead, I decided to split the network between the smart home devices one and the normal network for everybody else, and B, I wanted to change the password everywhere. So now the password is changed. Turns out that most devices were very easy to change the password on. Since I did split the network, it also wasn't very difficult to change it for the ESP Home devices because, well, pretty much the only thing I needed to do with them was changing the password bar and say, hey, just connect to the new one, because there is a new network. So just connect to the new network as you are, and it worked perfectly fine. So that is that. What was more annoying? Let me think. The LIFX lights. The LIFX lights were very annoying because you need to reset them, and the way you reset them is you turn them on and off at the wall 5 times. That's the way you reset those LIFX lights. It's annoying. Anyway, that part done. Now I'm back trying something different. Hopefully this time, as I said, with no password being streamed. So let me go back where we were last time. So, ESPHome. For those who have not seen, this is the ESPHome table of contents of various components. It does have like cookbooks if you want to set up things in a particular way, like the son of stuff or the custom UART text sensors. There is a whole lot of things that is handy and everything is fine. It's nowhere near what I need right now, so I may just look at it to figure out how it works. This is the generic custom component, that's the way it works, and then it has the SpeedFun platform, which I need to figure out how to actually implement, because this is the custom climate, there you go. It supports a bunch of trades, and as part of the trades, it has the fun mode and all this kind of stuff. So it does allow me to do pretty much all I need, give or take. But the question is, can I send the right commands with it? So what you don't see, because I didn't turn on the camera this time, is that I have now the breadboard here with the ESP32 dev kit, the same one that I actually want to set up for the air conditioning, connected to one of the two lean bus transceivers. The other lean bus transceiver is connected to a serial adapter that is connected to my Linux machine, which is the one I'm going to be using for the actual running of code. And it's going to be running the HVAC emulator pretty much. And then, yeah, I'm going to be connecting this soon. Actually, let me grab the cable because I need that cable as well. And we'll see what we can get out of it. I also have another, like I have two T-Lin soldered to the breadboard adapters that are on the breadboard. I have a third one that I have over here that is wired correctly. Plus I have the one that I wired wrong, which I need to find a way to actually mark and like, hey, this is working, but it's wired wrong. But that's a different problem. The one that is wired correctly, which I have over here, the extra one, I'm possibly going to wire this with a serial adapter and just connect it to the actual AC and connect it over there. Okay, so let's start on that then. Back to coding, which is where we stopped earlier because I flashed the thing. Here we are, but the key, like the blind key, I don't give a well, but yeah, there was the password here. It's no longer but the same, so that's gone. And the board is still the same. It's the ESP WROver kit. I'm going to be using the same. So let me create a new file. That's going to be lghfaq.yaml. This is going to be a lghfaq. ESP2 or ESP rover. It is not going to go over Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi at all, so I'm not going to copy that. I'm going to enable the logger for sure. And I'm going to enable, well, I'm not going to list the log yet. And then I'm going to, don't need the tracker, I will need the sensor stuff, but I also need the customs. So I need to add here includes lghfaq climate.h. Climate needs to have platform custom lambda is going to be auto custom climate new lghfaq climate. And that's going to be an interesting one because I need to figure out how this is going to look eventually, because I'll have 3 of these running, 1 per room. So this is going to be test climate for now. So this part is the easy one. I also need a new file, which is going to be these read first custom sensor component, which is this thing over here. The API is less stable. Yes, I know. Custom definition. Yeah, Okay, there is a polling component where you have something that should get repeatedly with some update interval. Okay, every second I can go back. But that's also a bit of a problem. So this is going to be interesting because yeah, like sensor is not the problem. The problem is going to be like, how do I get this to actually know like when it's time to update? Because I could use a polling component for reading the temperature out of the control panel, and I can definitely use a polling component to go and send the update to the HVAC. Because as far as I can tell, the moment when I disconnect the control panel, the HVAC is just completely quiet. So if I inject my polling component and every 1 second I write, that should work perfectly fine. Let's start with that. Probably a polling component on 1 second to just update this thing, and then probably a separate sensor component that is going to be tell me the temperature that the control panel reads. So let's start with the polling component then. So class lghfaq climate polling component. It's not a sensor though, so how do I do a custom climate? Public climate. and I need to include ESP Home. And I haven't done C++ in a long while, so this is not doing anything for now. This is not going to do anything either for now. And this one I actually need to have it do something. Set support current temperature. True. Not really, does it? Because I will have to. So this is not the case. Let's set support auto mode. Yeah, it one does. Okay, let me see which traits I need to give it. If you look at browsing, like this is the set supports. So await doesn't work, action doesn't work. Dry mode, yes, most likely. Fan only mode, yes. Auto, cool, and heat mode, those are yes. So traits set support cool mode, set support heat mode, set support fan only mode, and set support dry mode. The 2-point target temperature, I have no idea what that does, so I'll have to look it up. And get support fan mode. Yeah, there you go. Support fan mode. Very good. I need to set all of these. I don't know what the defaults are for this though, which is a bit strange, right? Get support swing mode. None of these, because at least it would in some others, but not on this one. I guess I need to be very explicit in what I get. Temperature accuracy decimal. Get visual temperature step, set visual max temperature, set visual mean temp. I mean, this is a lot of set, but I don't know what they do, to be honest. Can I actually see the source code of this file? Like, does it tell me what the default is? No. Oh, very good. These are the defaults. So sports, everything is false. That's awesome. But I also want to ban trait set support fan mode low. Low, medium, and high are the ones that mine supports. I know that others supports differently, but that's what I'm going to do. For now, I just want to support my own. Low, medium, and high. And then get support swing modes, they're all off, so that's fine. I like this min 1030 because those actually match kind of the same that I have over here. Kind of. It's not quite the same. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know what the 2-point temperature is. Target, when target temperature supports current temperature. Does it? See, that's where things are going to be interesting because kind of can support that and I kind of cannot. So yeah, we'll find out now. Set support action, dry mode, no, that's the climate rate. So this is the climate control. Target temperature is where it wants to be at. Oh, visual point target temperature, now I see. So it needs to, it's a hysteresis parameter pretty much, which is kind of what I would like to have. But yeah, so this should be reading the current temperature, target temperature, fan mode, the swing mode, like all of these are lambdas. Okay, let's start with very simple stuff. So this should be a polling component. I also want to do polling component. I need to tell it how much, and so public GHFAC climate, it's polling component, and I want this every 1 second, and then every update interval milliseconds is going to print to do what I'm asking it to. Let me go back to the code so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. Update. All right. So this is also meant to publish the state and do a bunch of things. But I guess I need to do one thing at a time. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. So, like, yeah. Now, every update, I need the I need, so I need setup priority float setup priority. Okay. I need to define a setup priority. It's going to be bus because I need this to be initialized after the UART bus, and I need to add a UART then. Oh, this is going to be a mess. How do I... Ah, no, it should be fine. So I need to derive of not just public component and climate, I also need to polling component. I also need to derive of UART device. And then I'm going to get parent device, and I'm going to have to initialize that pathway as well. That's going to be a bit more of a mess because I need to be able to read and write on the UART. Okay, so that means over here I need to define a UART path, and my TX pin is going to be 25 and my RX is going to be 27. I think I need to now go and check what the right definition of the pins are. Because how do I refer to that? GPIO 23 and GPIO 26. I think, yes. Okay. And that's where things are going to be interesting. Baud rate is going to be 104. And then in the custom component here, I need to call ed off to wall. And that should be sending me the thing to the wall, supposedly. What I'm going to start with is like very randomly. I don't want to read the data, I need to find the UART device, right? Need to look at the documentation for this. Oh, that's in the, oh, because those are all the definition of it. That's all right. So I'm going to write a byte for now, which is just going to be H. I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to write H everywhere. I don't care for now. I just want to make sure that this even works at 104 bps. And that I can even build it, because I don't know if I can. So now I have a config file. I'm going to connect this thing. Oh, I need to connect it both sides. Okay. It's connected to, it's at CP210N, it's connected to the bridge, so everything should be fine there, but one is TTY USB 1. I'm also going to split view this one, so I'm going to hide this for the moment. And I'm going to start a TTY USB 0, and I disable the local echo. It should still be sending, despite the fact that there is no local echo right now. I could measure it, but I need to grab the thing. Now, the important part is I need to configure this. So, I have a config file, and I'm going to create a new VM. And I'm going to install ESPHome. And now it's by ESPHome, this file, the LGH YAML, and I run it. It's telling me, but I have a mistake. Invalid YAML syntax. Where did I make a mistake on the YAML syntax? Line 17 on the climate platform custom. Climate. Oh, this was meant to be there. Let's see this way. Yeah, it works. Great. This is going to do all the setting up and things. Now, if all works, on this side over here, where TU is running, over here, I should be getting a bunch of H's. Set, but there is no set support fan mode high. So that tells me that the version of ESPHome that I'm trying to use doesn't match the one that it is on the website, which is not entirely unexpected. That's 1.18. I don't know which version of ESPHome I'm having here. Which version of ESPHome do I have? Does it tell me? 1.18, so it should be the right one. I don't know why it's, maybe I mistyped it, so let me just check. Set supports, not support, supports. Okay, that's easy. There we go. Let's have it build first and let it send the H. I'm going to use 2 because TTI USB 0 is the one that I'm using with Dio. So now it's flashing the ESP Home on the test device I have over here. Now I got past this. Yeah, I didn't get past this point with my own custom thing yet. I do have a custom board that uses an ESP32 that I was trying to use for the acrylic lamp. Unfortunately, I never managed to get to this point. It always errored out on me before. So yeah, that doesn't help. So now I see that it has a baud rate. It says 104, that's fine. Data bits 8, parity known, stop bits 1. And it is sending 26 to 27, which is what? That is the wrong one. So let me stop this. What I need is 25, 26. Let me just double check on Eagle as well. Did I connect that to the right one? 25 is transmit and 26 is receive. Yes, that is correct. So let me just rebuild it again. It was sent the wrong way. Let's see how this one works. Okay, 25, 26. So I expect this to start sending me once a second H's, and I don't see any H's right now. That doesn't bode particularly well. Let me go and grab my Sally because I connected it earlier. And it's still connected there. Like, well, now it's not recording. Let me just show you. It doesn't look like this has changed. I think it's still 1F. Yeah, it's still 1F despite me having like clearly put this one to ice in that area, but still reads 1F, which is 25 degrees, which technically it is actually the temperature that is here right now, at least the stuff that I feel here where I'm sitting. So let me detach it from there for now. I think the next thing that I need to experiment with that is going to be overnight, leave the window open, have it go below that value, like below 25, and see if that is still correct. I expect that 1F is 25-ish because it is 1F is 31 divided by 2, that will be 15.5 plus 10 because that's the minimum value that this HVAC seems to support. That will lead to the oh, I just realized, like, I'm trying to talk to this thing. I didn't turn on the bus. That may be the reason why nothing was working. Let me see. Oh yeah, there you go. You now see a lot of H's. The problem here is that I see, like, the H is not very constant. Either the receiver or the send are not quite going right, but you can see that it's like it's sending from one side, it's going to the other. That is correct because it's all going through a bus. So let me just connect the Sale. This is the ground. And then I'm going to use the white one is 0 because that is the bus. And then I'm going to put the, oh, I got the wrong one. The gray one is the send side. The black one is the ground. The purple one is the receive on this side. I only need one more cable because I don't care about the receive side on the other hand because it's going to mirror the same. Like, these transceivers will mirror back everything you send over to them. So there is no reason for me to record what is received on both ends. I know that it works. I already checked that. So I only need 4 channels to record the whole thing. Now, if I had any different setup, that may have been very different, but with this particular setup I have over here, this one will do perfectly fine. I'm going to just put these 2 on random things. I'm probably going to use those for different, like more channels for other things, because there will be other things that I want to record with this. When I'll have both the side that speaks to the panel and the one that speaks to the HVAC emulator, then that will be different. I'm going to stop this thing. I'm going to reconfigure this to grab the first 4 channels. Okay, and I'm going to start. Let me see. So channel 3 is okay, a bit noisy, but it should be all right. But you see here that that's 38, and that, oh, sorry, you're not seeing that. Analyzing, there you go. But 48 that it's sending 2 of them. And that's not what I want, because I want them to be spaced exactly 1 second apart. And instead what I see is them grouped like 1, 2, 3, and then waits, and then 1, 2, 3, and then waits. Now I'm going to send 6 bytes at a time, so that part is helpful, but it also means that it's buffering. I don't want it buffering. It has an RX buffer of 256 bits, bytes probably, but that's still not what I want. I need to be able to configure the UART differently, I guess. So let me see what the UART bus tells me. Databit parity ID, that's the invert. That's one other thing I wanted to, like, it's annoying, so I'm not going to do that. So this one has this component uses the hardware UART. Yeah, it says that the ESP8266 can have issues, but that's fine. I'm using it for issues, so that's fine. Everything else is fine, and this has an RX hardware buffer, but I don't need the RX hardware buffer, so I probably need to flush it immediately when I do this. So let me go and do that. Coding, this is my coding, and I'm going to flush right after, because if I don't do this and it buffers more data than I want it to buffer, then I have a problem. And you can see, like, this was very clear here for me, because I can see multiple H's arriving instead of arriving exactly every 1 second. And it is possible that I don't need to send this every 1 second. I could, like, pull this probably in 10 seconds, I think, because the HVAC doesn't respond unless I send something. But I don't know if that means that it just gets there and stuck. Okay, it seems like a flash is working, so let me actually do that on camera. Very good. Sense. So this is slightly better, and you can see that this is actually sending 1 signal only at a time, but it's also sending like 7, like there are 2.5 seconds between, well, okay, let's call it between the first one. If I set this one as T0, the second one is happening at 2.5 seconds later. So the polling doesn't quite work the way I want it to work, because it's just too slow. The polling component. It will. This cannot guarantee a correct timing, and it's not using timers, just a software polling feature on set interval from component. So that doesn't help us. Because I actually want a timer of some kind. You need to use hardware timers. Yeah. How? ESP Home hardware timers. Time. Okay. The time component allows you to set up real on time. Every 5 minutes. No, that's fine. Yeah, that's not what I want. I don't want script and delay. I want an actual timer. Timers and timeout. But again, this is not. So that is a problem because I need to be able to do this a lot more accurately than that. How do I do that? How do I get an interval? Okay, maybe there is an interval. Measure templates. Need the sensor. I mean, the problem is the alternative to all of these, if this doesn't work, is for me to have, oh gosh, if this doesn't work, my alternative is to have a separate chip whose only thing, like the only, like have a different MCU whose only use is to keep sending those like accurate signals and just be told the state by the ESP. So that complicates the design a bit. Among other things, it means that I need to write code that just keeps the state and just keeps sending, receiving, like buffers the state. Oh gosh, this is going to be awful, is it? Because that means I need to have a way to talk between one MCU just keeping the bus connection open on one side and the actual ESP32 on the other. Okay, so let's close this for a moment. I mean, this may be enough to control the HVAC, but it's not going to be enough to keep the control panel open, because the control panel open, maybe like 2.5 seconds, it may be able to send the state back and just say, yeah, fine, everything is all right. But it definitely, like, something is off with that. So, okay. Why did I have no app installed? I don't know. Let me just install it again. See, this is the reason why I haven't sent the card out, the PCB out for manufacturer yet, because I don't know, like, if I need to actually see, this one tells me to use the hardware timers, but it doesn't tell me how to use the hardware timers. Let's see this one. Function called, oh, from timer interrupt. There you go. Okay, so there is a way to get the timer interrupt. Not very well documented, to be honest, but that should work. So it's not a go option, and I don't need to go ahead and build this thing from scratch again. But I do need to find a way to get this. Okay. So I need the dimmer timer and oh, but not a dimmer timer. I need a timer. This is my timer interrupt. I need it at 1 hertz, not 1 kilohertz. That's in microseconds, so mine is going to be 1 million there. Wow, this is going to be complicated. More complicated than I expected. Like, not impossible, but it's going to be more complicated than I expected. Okay, let's try. The other problem is going to be, how the heck am I going to actually tell this, like, hey, I want to send this to the right component, but like one thing at a time, I guess. I have no idea how this. So that's the setup. Okay. In setup, timer, attach, interrupt. So this is the thing that I'm looking for, right? It is not actually documented anywhere. Okay, so it looks like the timer interrupt stuff is mostly related to the Arduino builds. I wonder if this even works. If I use this one, does this one also use interrupts or timers? This looks very low level. Right, registers. Yeah, that's very low level. What about this one? No, that one is a different thing. This one? Yeah, I don't know if that like the AC dimmer stuff may actually work for what I need. That's the thing. So yeah, it doesn't seem like this is meant to be working. Now the question is, does this even work correctly? I don't know, so I'm going to have to try. And I just got the display. Give me a second, folks. There you go, I got the display back. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Okay, so I need to actually have an interrupt there. So I'm going to do this timer begin and attach an interval. This is Arduino stuff, right? So this is the thing. This is the ESP32 timer interrupt. It's this library over here. And it even supports the S2, but like I don't think ESPHome supports the S2 yet. Yeah, platform IO, so it should be fine. I can use it because otherwise it wouldn't be there. May need to add some dependencies somewhere, I don't know. API? Is that the API documented anywhere? No. Timer, attach, no. Samples, doc, contribution welcome, that's fine, but if I want the documents, read the documentation, send me to the thing. That doesn't actually send me to the useful information, I would say. Okay, so read the documentation. Back to this one. Doesn't have doc. Does it this actually include it? No, it doesn't. Does this include it? No. Oh well, that's the cache stuff. So hopefully this one will be enough. This should be the API, right? Doesn't quite have a good API for this, like a good API documentation on how to do it. Not what, oh, probably this one. Wow, this is messy. Okay, so this function is actually wrapped in the, this is actually the stuff that does the work. So, and this is the stuff that will call it eventually. That means that the update here stays the same, but I'm going to do void timer. I'm going to unlock that now. And this is going to be actually that. Do I need the now? What does it now do? Oh, but because it calculates the cycle. I don't care about calculating the cycle. It's because of this one. It's used for AC dimming, so it is very important. And then it finds its all dimmers. Where is this all dimmers? Okay, so it adds this all dimmers so that that is hacky as heck, but okay. Static LG HVAC. I need to be able to create an extra like I need not just the header. I actually need this implemented with source code. I cannot define everything into the thing. Yeah, this is a bit messy because I should be able to do this without having to okay, so how am I going to do this? I guess I need a new, I need to do a full custom components implementation for this one. Yeah, let's start with that, because if I don't do that, this is going to just be out of hand. this is going to be output. I'm going to pretty much copy what it has over there. Creating my own namespace. Actually, I don't know how Wolf's namespace works. It's not very well documented, is it? Let's see, so this is the class. It's a float output and a component. That's what it means. So this one is actually polling component, your device, and climate. Although it's not going to, I just make it a component. This is not going to be a polling component. This is just going to be a component. Because then I don't care about the polling part. This out because it's not working. This becomes loop. So this is not output anymore. I need to list ESP Home climate. CG, what was it? Class I component climate. No, that's this one. Yeah, climate. Oh, this uses climate IR. I don't actually want climate IR. This one is 2-year climate. That's probably what I want. So I want this part over here. Will need output. Probably will need pins. I'm not sure about that. I'll need these eventually, but not yet. Will need these. I also need a UART, so I'm going to be, so that's the name I gave here, right? Yeah. So this is going to be LGHVAC and has the class LGHVAC climate. I'll have both two. I also need to find one that does it for UART. Like this one, UART device. And the UART is imported from here. Climate UART. I also want to import dependencies UART because I need the UART bus. Okay, all the device. This is my config schema. I don't need this part over here. I don't need this part over here. CV generate ID, yeah, that's probably fine. Okay. That part is a 2 code, which is pretty much the same everywhere, right? Yeah. Config conf ID, yes. Register component. This has switch register component. I think I want climate, register climate. There you go. Oh wait, do I need register? I do want the register component, then I want to wield that one. Okay. And then I want to register the UART device. And I'm not going to have this data over here because I don't care about what part of the back. Oh, this is not switch schema extend. This is climate. I assume it's climate schema. Let's see. Yes, install that one. I don't care. These probably declare ID, but UART switch should not be UART switch. Should be this one. And I think this one is climate schema. And not sure if this one doesn't work. So if I look at this one, yes, climate schema extend. Okay, that's fine. Oh, sorry, this is not what I wanted to do. Climate UART device component. Okay, that's fine. Now that means this thing over here, I need to move it. So MBLG for climate H, and the custom components and GH and then I need to, this went the wrong way. Yes. Also, this is a switch. Yeah, these are all called init, not output, so I don't know why. I'm going to remove custom component LGHVAC output. It's going to be init only. I will have to add all the SPDX stuff later, but not now. And then the way I'm listing that, I should be able to just say climate platform LG HVAC. Oh, need to see what. So the one I was hoping there was mostly the Tuya climate. Tuya climate platform. Yes, LG HVAC. Doesn't have a lambda there anymore. It's going to be named as climate. And then I need to give it in the UART ESP Home switch components, UART switch. I'm copying the UART switch for the most part. UART ID. This is going to be that's interesting. The UART ID is optional. Manually specify the ID of a UART hub. It doesn't say, like, I guess UART is the default. So here's the other funny thing, like the platform UART has the send every 1 second, which pretty much like 90% of what I need, except that I don't know if that send every is actually on time. So let me see. So code components UART switch. Where's it? CPP. H. Doesn't say anything about either of those. Is that because it's the UART that actually does the whole thing, the UART device? It is. UART. Because this write state, publish state, sending data, okay? Try to read that, but it doesn't say like send every is part of the component sensor. Oh, conf send every maybe. That's interesting. Like it has this send every, but it doesn't say like the document. Oh wait, okay. Yeah, okay. Now that's more interesting. Um, I was looking for very old code. That's why it was not matching at all with what I was trying to get. Like this is an older version. Okay, the UART has this millis and then it checks this last transmission, which was my alternative way to do this, which is very interesting. This is pretty much my alternative option. Like instead of using the hardware timer to precisely send it every second, just use the loop and if it is time to send it, send it. So I guess this works well enough for the UART switch, is going to work well enough for me, or it should. Okay, so this part should set up everything correct. Now this is the UART switch with the send every, there you go. I'm going to do something very similar on my code now, which is this one, there you go. It's going to be component UART device, so that's fine. Does the UART switch derive from component and switch? Yeah, okay, so it does the component, UART, and climate. I think it does climate first. Let me move, like it does the equivalent of climate first. Let me do that this way. And the UART component parent, does it do that? How does that work? It doesn't actually have any of that. I assume that this one will have something. Because I see to UART device. It doesn't say, it doesn't do anything interesting with. Doesn't override the config, it doesn't do any strange override there. So I think this one just the UART device takes default and has its start parent, otherwise it sets the UART parent. Okay. I assume that this register your device is the thing that actually does the, this one still doesn't work the way I wanted to, the F12. I assume that if I look here at the Python code that is over here, I guess, register your device at your client. Okay, that's fine. Is a coroutine. You need to weight it with a yield expression. I guess I'm not using Python 3.7 yet. Okay, so that's good. I don't need the setup for now because it just set the parent. I don't need, sorry, I don't need the init. I will need the setup eventually because it does the right thing. The other thing, oh, actually, I needed to keep, I wanted to keep the other code, and I'm going to open the .cpp as well. So what it does here, it writes the commands, writes the array, the data, whatever. And that's the last transmission. But I guess, yeah, it just keeps it. Write state, publish state, if send ever is 0, otherwise update last transmission to millis. Okay, so let's do that. But it's much simpler than trying to deal with timers. Or having the whole thing done. This is so much easier. But of course it's a bit more complicated to write, but that's all right. So in loop, if this send every, no, that's fine, that's always there. Const even now if now minus this transmission more than this, but more than, it's milliseconds, so it's 1. Then I'm going to this equal now, and here I'm doing this. Okay, now the other thing that I can do here is if that certain GPIO what enables disable is the thing that does the transmit enable is unset, just don't bother doing anything. That's fine, I'll do that later. This now should be my base. Now let's start TO again on this one, setting Y. It should not be getting Y, it should be getting H. Man, oh, it's getting a lot of garbage. Okay, let me just, could not find the file that H. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to find it because now it's a custom component. And it cannot find the climate.lghvac platform. And that is not unexpected. We have custom components, yes. I have an LGHVAC there, yes. Do I need to tell it to use the custom components? Don't think I need to. I do. I need to tell it LGHVAC. At least one of ID or name is required. Platform not found, but I did pass. my init, okay, that's my code owner, so I don't know anything, right? I the pins I'm still not using. Config ID, declare ID, extend your device, extend component schema. So new config, I register climate and UART. That's a config schema and that's the class, that's my namespace. That in the meantime resynchronized somehow. Okay, so climate platform. Okay. Oh, because it's a custom platform, so it should not be in init.py, it should be in climate.py. That makes sense. It's going to be changing to rename it from here. It's going to be easier. Rename. No, not terminal rename. Rename this one. Rename this one is climate.py, and then I'm going to create an empty init.py. Okay. Now if I run this one, component LGH, I cannot be loaded via YAML because it doesn't have a schema. But it should, because the config schema is there. Am I forgetting to pass the config schema? Config schema is climate schema extend with that, extend with that, extend with that. Oh, I need to remove this one, sorry. I think. Component ID was not declared to inherit from component or was registered twice. LG HVAC. Oh, class, not class. Yeah, right. Okay. LG HVAC does not name a type because I need to namespace this now. Yeah, namespace. Add the class name before comma. Okay, so it should be in ESPHome. That's probably why. Namespace ESPHome. Namespace GHVAC. Okay, now I result with something different. On line 7. So if I go on this one, okay. I probably need to include it. Why? Yeah. Include ESP Home components, climate .h. Climate.h is not valid. Tuya climate, I guess. Tuya climate page. Oh, I see. ESP Home namespace. This is climate. Okay, dot climate. Okay. Climate call. Climate traits. I guess this one also would have a climate on top. This is all namespace. Market override, but does not override. It will override. That's fine. Last transmission is not defined. Yeah, yes, it isn't protected. Even for T last transmission 0. That should do it. Write byte was not was not declared in this scope. And I think that's a UART device. That is, yeah, I need to do UART call on your device probably. Okay, let's see this. UART has not been declared. Fine. Okay, better. It says that I don't have the last transmission, which is correct because I mistyped that one. There you go. I'm just going to okay, it built, it's running. Now the question is it precise? That's it. The answer is no. The answer is this is 2.5 seconds in between sends, despite me asking for his beast like 1000 overrides. So that is a bit of a problem. I guess I want to log this as well because I want to be able to see what's going on. How do I log? Include core log because yeah, I will. And this over here, I'm going to put this one over here. ESP log D. Yeah, I'm going to, well, I need to add log later. The tag for now is going to be LGHVAC climate. Current time. It's going to be now. And in the logger log, I need to perform test acrylic, CGG1 test. The way logs are set, logs, and then I need the HVAC climate debug. ESP log D not declared in this code. Okay, paint me surprised. I thought that including core log was enough for that. It should be. Oh, log D, not LGOD. There we are. That's not LD, it's UD, I guess. Oh, U. Okay, shoot. And I think after this one, I'll take a break. This clear, like, clearly this has some kind of timer going on, but it's like 2.5 seconds. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting problem to get rid of next. Because I need to send it faster. Polling component, template sensor. Unless there is a config that I'm missing that allows it to go faster, because you can see here, like, loop has been called in a loop. But then here, it starts taking some, like, it takes 2.5 seconds before the next pickup. And I don't see anything configured here that will suggest why. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to call this a day. I'm going to disconnect this. It's going to error out the ESP Home. Yep. Serial port closed, and I'm going to close the other serial port. There you go. Everything will power off in a moment. I'll call the stream a day for now. I may go back to this later. I may pop up on the ESPHome Discord just to ask questions, because I can't figure out why that will be the case. So something is very different, and I'm not sure what's going on. So until then, see you next time. I'll see where things are going. Next stream later.